Hey, beautiful soul. Today, I want to talk about something that is very near and dear to me, even though it's something that I've struggled with my entire life. But I can say that I've finally freed myself from this thing. It's called external validation. Many of us can relate. If you're asking yourself, what will they think of me if I do this? Then this video is for you. So first of all, I want to say that you do not need permission to be who you are. You are already enough as you are. So if you're chasing that external validation, there are reasons why you do this, but there are also things that you can do to let go of those feelings and the need to have that external validation. So what is external validation? It is the need for approval from others in order for you to feel like you are good enough. And this could look like checking to see if someone liked your post. It could look like people pleasing. It could look like over pleasing people. It could look like agreeing with people, being agreeable so you avoid conflict. And it could feel like being anxious if someone doesn't agree with you or disapproves of you. It puts you in a space of not being liked, not being approved of. And that validation comes from your inner child. And what happened to you as a child has a lot to do with why you seek that validation. And usually you want that validation from people that you don't even know half the time. So recognize where this is coming from so you can change that story. When I was a little girl, I was often bullied. I was often told I was too dark. I was too hairy. I was a crybaby. And I wanted to fit into all the friend groups. Even with my friend group, I didn't fit in totally. I felt like the outcast. I felt like the black sheep. If you can relate to this, you're seeking something that makes you lose your power in the end. And it takes you through life that way around other cliques, other circles of people. And you start to create that cycle of the same types of people because it's familiar. But what you don't realize is that's a cycle you need to break. And it's not only changing how you show up, but it's changing the types of people that you choose to show up with or for. So we crave it because it comes from our childhood. Maybe you were a child and you were praised for behaving, you were praised for following the rules. And so that in your subconscious mind takes you through life as I've got to do it this way so that they like me, so that I'm praised, so that I'm validated, so that I'm seen. Social media culture is big for that. I've been on social media for the last, 17 years probably, when I had been transitioning from my cake decorating, my bakery, to then photography. And I'd constantly have to show up. I'd constantly have to be online. But the more I seek that validation, the more I felt alone. And even when I got the validation, I craved more of it. And social media is that type of, obsession. It's that type of cult, like you live in a cult where everything feels like, you're in this bubble and you think this is truth. You think that these people like you because, you've proven yourself to be talented and skilled and worthy and enough at what you're doing. And what you don't realize is that those people are actually going to halt you in moving or evolving. But the biggest thing is you are the one that is halting yourself by allowing that validation to take over your next step and your next step. So every decision you make is based on, will they like me versus do I actually like myself? And am I proud of myself? And being okay with, posting something and saying, I don't need to attach my value to the number of likes, follows, or comments. Many of us have that fear of rejection. We don't want to feel like we're forgotten. We have, that FOMO, you should say, I have the fear of missing out on things, and I have the fear of being invisible or forgotten and rejected. And rejection is something that starts again from when we were little. We maybe have felt rejection in certain situations, but it was just in those situations that you were rejected. But you don't need to create that story of rejection in this chapter of your life. We have that lack of inner trust in ourselves. We don't really trust who we are. And so we show up with those masks and those performances, trying to act like how they want us to be so that, again, we blend in, we fit in. But fitting in is overrated. We don't need to blend in. Blending in is for artists, I like to say. No shade to artists. No pun intended. So, how does external validation hold you back? You need to recognize these things, okay? So, number one, you never are fully feeling free in what you're doing. You're constantly walking on eggshells around people, circumstances, jobs, rooms, situations, because you're not really being authentic to you. You're not free to be who you are. The energy's off. Like, recognize and be aware that those energies are trying to tell you something, that maybe something is holding you back from fully being you. You're tied to that identity that gets that external validation to feel like she's good enough, that, she's wanted in this situation, that people will only like her if she acts this way. Another thing is like your confidence could be destroyed if you get one bad comment. If someone tells you something that you don't like about yourself, then you know what? You're projecting that onto yourself. And maybe you actually feel that way about yourself because you lack the confidence in who you are, and you take that person's comment as truth about who you are. And so you start to be what others want you to be, or you think others want you to be. So how do you break free from this feeling of, or this need to be externally validated by people? You want to start asking the questions. What do I think of this? So really trust in what you're producing, what you're saying, your opinions about things. You don't need to be agreeable. You just need to know your truth. And you don't need to be afraid to say your truth, even if it disappoints someone else. And the other thing is, what would I be if no one saw me do it? I built this channel and I did not invite any of my friends and family because they're just maybe not in the space that I'm in right now. And I don't need to worry about the validation from them. I'm doing this for me, and I'm doing this to align with the people that watch these videos. And hopefully that is one of you today. But again, I don't need that external validation. If you resonate, you resonate. If you don't, you don't. And at the end of the day, I'm not tying myself to these metrics. I'm doing this because I believe I have a message to share. I believe that I have value to provide. I believe that numbers are just numbers and none of it is really real. I also believe that people come into your life for a purpose and they're attracted to your energy. They're aligned to you for a reason. And so I just trust in that process. If I am on here and I'm aligning with 5 people, that's 5 more people than I had yesterday. And that's okay with me. The other way to let it go is to practice discomfort. Practice being who you are despite what 100 people think of you. Recognize that not everyone's going to like you, and that is okay. Constantly tell yourself, as long as I'm not hurting anybody and I'm being intentional with my messages, I'm being intentional with what I want to do, the purpose behind this message or this thing that I'm doing, the way I'm walking, the way I'm standing, I'm not shrinking any longer for anybody. And it's okay if you want to like me or dislike me. I will always have my arms open for people, regardless if they agree or disagree, and recognize that those people that do not like you, they have their own internal battles that they're facing without even recognizing them. So they're probably projecting onto you what they feel about themselves. If you also give the message of, I am who I am, then you're giving permission to other people to be who they are as well. And people want that permission to just stand up and be who they are because they're lacking that part of them who just wants to be seen and noticed and validated, or, just being good enough in this world. And you want to create without needing applause. You don't need all the praise. You don't need all the accolades and awards, which I've gotten my whole entire life. Honestly, I've constantly been trying to prove myself over and over again in everything I've done. I went to school here in Canada. I moved here 20 years ago, and I said, I'm going to be the best. Then I was valedictorian. I got all these awards for my careers that I've had, and I was always trying to prove myself. But then I realized I don't need to prove myself. I just need to be the best version of me and for my family and for the people that love me the most. Ask yourself this question. Would you tell your inner child the things that you're telling yourself now? If the answer is no, then you need to reparent your inner child. She needs a hug. She needs a pat on the back. She needs, a warm embrace. She needs something that tells her she's enough. She was always enough. And in this space she's in, it doesn't define who she is. But in this space, she recognizes the truth that she can evolve, that she can forgive, that she can have compassion for herself now, that she can believe in herself and stand up with confidence and knowing exactly who she is without the need to feel liked, seen, applauded, or validated. And you really, really should be doing something like regulating your nervous system. So if that is breath work, I love to do EFT tapping. I love to go for walks. I love to like drive with no music on just to have peace, or sit outside with the birds chirping and just embrace the actual noise of nature and not worry about the external chaos, trying to forget things or on the to-do list, the things I have to do today, tomorrow, or constantly refreshing your page to see who liked your post, or holding yourself back from posting because you're scared of being rejected, because you're scared of being ridiculed or not fitting in. Breath is so important. Breath is something that we all have every day. It's free. It's free to breathe. The air we breathe is safe to breathe. So why not use it? Why not take a few minutes a day just to sit and ground ourselves and come back to center, come back to our why, come back to who we are, and know that you're safe. You're safe regardless. You're safe to be yourself. You're safe to show up exactly as you are. And even if someone doesn't like you, wish them well. Bless them, release them, carry on your day, because you know the truth. You know that you were given this life for a reason. You were given a purpose for a reason. Live your purpose, live your life. So if this message resonated with you, I would love to hear what you think about it. I would love to hear if you're going through a similar situation right now and what season you're in, because at the end of the day, understand that you are enough as you are, and that's all you need to know. The rest is not in your control. You cannot expect people to love you. You cannot expect everyone to like you. And the sooner you realize that, the more you could start loving yourself and being more than okay with who you are. Bye for now.